So let me ask you a question. What does quality really mean? It's a word we throw around all the time, but for decades, the business world had a surprisingly rigid and frankly kind of boring idea of it. And then this engineer, Dr. Joseph M. Juran, came along and just completely changed the game. He gave us a whole new way to think about what makes something truly good. I mean, think about it for a second. Is a super expensive luxury car inherently higher quality than a super reliable, affordable little hatchback? If your immediate answer is, well, it depends, then congratulations, you're already thinking like Duran. To really get just how big of a deal Duran's ideas were, we have to rewind a bit and look at how things used to be done. Back on the factory floor. For a long, long time, quality was defined in a very mechanical way. For ages, the main idea pushed by experts like Philip Crosby was pretty simple. Quality just meant conformance to requirements. Basically, did the thing we made match the blueprint? If it did, check the box, it's a quality product. The whole system was reactive. It was all about catching mistakes at the end of the line, after the time and money had already been spent. Now, right around the mid-20th century, a few brilliant minds started to say, hey, wait a minute. You had Dr. W. Edwards Deming, who was all about management's role, and Dr. Kaoru Ishikawa, who gave us new tools to analyze problems. But it was Dr. Joseph M. Juran who handed us a powerful new lens to look through, one that wasn't focused on the factory at all, but on the customer. What Juran proposed was, on the surface, incredibly simple, but it was also totally radical. He argued that quality isn't defined by some spec sheet or a factory checklist. Nope, it's defined by something way more important, the person who actually uses the thing. And Juran himself just said it perfectly. He believed the real test of a product wasn't its technical specs, but whether it was, in his words, fit for use. Did it solve the problem for the person who bought it? And that simple idea, well, it applies to absolutely everything, from a space shuttle to a spatula. So here's the big takeaway. Fitness for use basically puts the customer in the judge's chair. It's you, the end user, who decides if something is high quality. A product is good if it does the job you need it to do. It sounds so obvious to us now, right? But at the time, this was a massive shift in thinking. But Juran didn't stop there. He realized that fitness for use is really a two-sided coin. On one side, you've got the features and performance that actually make you happy, that create satisfaction, like an amazing camera on your new phone. But on the other side, you need to be free from the stuff that makes you angry, the defects that cause dissatisfaction, like that same phone having a battery that dies by noon. To get to true quality, you have to nail both sides. Okay, so what exactly makes a product fit? Juran was smart enough to know that we, as customers, aren't just looking at one thing. We're actually weighing a bunch of different factors, sometimes without even realizing it. He kind of broke it down into a few key areas. First, there's the functional stuff. Does it just plain work? Then there's the psychological side. How does using it feel? That could be anything from super friendly customer service to just the pride you feel owning a certain brand. And finally, there's the economic piece. Is it a good value for the price? For something to be truly fit for use, all of those things really have to line up. Let's take a really clear example from that functional side, durability. This isn't just about whether a product breaks or not. It's about its entire useful life. How much can you actually use it before it just wears out, or it costs more to fix than to replace? That's a huge piece of its fitness for use. But here's what's so cool about Juran. He wasn't just a theorist. He was an engineer at heart, and engineers build systems. He didn't just give us this great idea, he created an actual, actionable blueprint, so any company could make fitness for use a reality. He knew that for this whole concept to stick, it couldn't just be a slogan on a motivational poster. It had to be woven into the very fabric of how a company works. And that led to his most famous contribution to management. He called it the Juran Trilogy, a framework he saw as being just as critical as managing your finances. It's got 3 parts. First, quality planning. This is where you design quality in from the start. You figure out who your customers are and what they need, and you design your processes to meet those needs. Second, quality control. You're constantly checking your work, measuring it against your goals, and fixing things when they go off track. And third, quality improvement. This is the engine that drives you forward. It's a structured way to find and solve problems forever, so you're always getting better. And this whole framework, it wasn't just academic. It fundamentally changed how the world's most successful companies do what they do, and you can still see its impact everywhere today. So what was the big Juran revolution? Well, first, he dragged the customer from the sidelines and put them right in the middle of the quality conversation. Second, he brought in the human dimension, pushing for better training for managers. And this last one is huge. He argued that when things go wrong, the problem usually isn't the person on the assembly line, it's the system they're working in. He said that over 80% of all quality problems are actually the fault of poor planning by management. And that, right there, is the heart of Juran's whole philosophy. It's a complete 180 from the old way of thinking. The final verdict on quality doesn't come from a guy with a clipboard in a factory. It comes from you, the person who actually bought and used the product. So I'll just leave you with this. Think about the last product that either made you really happy or drove you completely crazy. Did it succeed or fail because it met some technical spec on a piece of paper? Or was it because it was either a perfect or a terrible fit for your use? Once you start seeing the world through that lens, you start seeing Juran's genius everywhere.